The last line of defense. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the DSS Vigilant, her weathered face reflecting off the reinforced glass as she watched Earth's last defense fleet take formation. The curved edge of humanity's homeworld loomed beneath them, its surface scarred by 3 months of relentless Zorax bombardment. Billions dead, most major cities reduced to rubble, and still they came. Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting multiple fold space ruptures. Lieutenant Marcus Rivera reported, his voice steady despite the tension evident in his shoulders. Zorax signatures, bigger than anything we've seen before. Sarah's jaw tightened. They'd lost the outer colonies one by one, each defeat pushing humanity closer to extinction. Now Earth itself stood on the brink. 20 billion Zorax warriors against the remnants of Earth's defense force, 800 ships and 40 million souls. The math was brutally simple. "Status of Project Lazarus?" she asked, not taking her eyes off the planet below. "Dr. Wong reports final calibration is complete," Marcus replied. "But Admiral, it's never been tested. We don't know if the ancient defense network will even activate, let alone function." Sarah finally turned from the viewport, facing her bridge crew. Each face showed the same mixture of exhaustion and determination she felt in her own bones. They'd fought impossible odds for months, lost friends and family, watched their civilization burn. But they hadn't broken. Humanity didn't survive 50,000 years of evolution to die here, she said, her voice carrying across the bridge. "We didn't climb from the oceans, build civilizations, reach for the stars, just to be exterminated by the first advanced species we encountered. The Zorax think they know us. They think they understand human potential. They're wrong." The deck vibrated as more proximity alerts sounded. The Zorax fleet was arriving. Massive carrier ships larger than cities, bristling with weapons that could crack continents. Their biological hulls pulsed with malevolent energy, a reminder that they weren't just fighting ships, but living weapons. "Dr. Wong to bridge," a voice crackled over the comm. "Admiral, we found something in the ancient data. The defense network. It's not just a weapon system. It's something else. Something more." Sarah's fingers tightened on the command rail. "Explain." "The artifacts we discovered, the orbital platforms we thought were weapons. They're more like keys. They don't just defend Earth, they unlock something inside us. Something our ancestors buried in our DNA 50,000 years ago, waiting for the moment we'd need it most." A massive fold space rupture split the sky above Earth, and the first Zorax dreadnought emerged. An organism machine hybrid 20 kilometers long. More ruptures followed, disgorging an armada that blotted out the stars. "Time to test the good doctor's theory," Sarah said. "All ships, battle formations. Defensive pattern Delta. Dr. Wong, activate the network. Let's show the Zorax what humanity is truly capable of." The ancient orbital platforms that had puzzled Earth scientists for decades suddenly hummed to life, their crystalline structures beginning to pulse with an otherworldly blue light. As the energy built, Sarah felt something stir deep within her consciousness, an awakening that resonated through her entire being. The Zorax fleet launched their first salvo, a barrage of plasma torpedoes that lit up space like artificial suns. But Sarah barely noticed. The sensation building inside her, inside every human in the fleet, was overwhelming all other concerns. Memories that weren't her own flooded her mind. Knowledge of technologies and powers that humanity had deliberately locked away until they were mature enough to use them wisely. "By all the stars," Marcus whispered, staring at his hands as they began to glow with the same blue energy emanating from the orbital platforms. "What are we becoming?" "What we were always meant to be," Sarah replied, feeling the power surge through her veins. "We're remembering who we are. And the Zorax are about to learn why our ancestors were feared across the galaxy." The transformation had begun. Humanity's last stand would become humanity's rebirth. And the Zorax were about to face an enemy unlike anything they had ever encountered, an enemy they had unknowingly awakened from a 50,000-year slumber. As the massive Zorax fleet bore down on Earth, Sarah felt no fear, only anticipation. The real battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The awakening. The transformation swept through Earth's defense fleet like a tidal wave of consciousness. Sarah Chen watched in awe as her crew members' eyes blazed with ethereal blue light, their movements becoming more precise, more purposeful. The ancient knowledge flooding their minds wasn't just information. It was an inheritance, a birthright that humanity had carried in its genetic code for millennia. Multiple Zorax dreadnoughts on attack vector, Marcus announced, his voice resonating with new authority. His hands danced across the tactical display, but he wasn't just using the computer system. He was interfacing with it directly, his consciousness extending into the ship's systems. They're launching boarding pods, biological weapons, planet-killer ordnance. Sarah nodded, experiencing the tactical data not as abstract information on a screen, but as a living, breathing reality she could feel in her bones. The Zorax's biological ships were magnificent creations, part organic, part machine, guided by collective intelligence. But they had a fundamental weakness. They were predictable. Evolved rather than engineered, their responses followed patterns as rigid as instinct. All ships, execute Protocol Omega, Sarah commanded. The words carried more than sound. They transmitted the full tactical package directly into the minds of every ship captain in the fleet. Dr. Wong, status of the orbital network. The platforms are at full power, Wong replied, her consciousness brushing against Sarah's through their newly awakened neural link. But Admiral, they're not weapons. They're amplifiers. They're taking our latent psychic potential and expanding it exponentially. The first wave of Zorax weapons fire approached Earth's fleet, a devastating barrage that should have annihilated half their remaining ships. Instead, the incoming fire met an invisible wall of pure thought. Hundreds of human minds working in perfect synchronization, their combined will turning space itself into an impenetrable barrier. The Zorax fleet faltered. Their biological ships recoiled as if struck, their collective consciousness radiating confusion, and for the first time, fear. They had expected to find a primitive species fighting with crude physical weapons. Instead, they faced beings wielding the power of thought itself. They're attempting to adapt, Marcus reported. Their ship minds are evolving new defenses, but too slowly. We can see every move they're going to make before they make it. Sarah stretched her consciousness outward, touching the minds of every human in the fleet. She felt their determination, their courage, and underneath it all, a burning anger at what had been done to their world. The Zorax had awakened something that should have stayed dormant for another 1,000 years, and now they would face the consequences. Launch counterattack, she ordered. All ships, engage at will. Show them what humanity can do. The battle that followed defied conventional physics. Human ships moved with impossible precision, their crews anticipating and countering Zorax tactics before they were even implemented. Weapons fire curved around in impossible arcs, guided by thought rather than targeting computers. And through it all, the orbital platforms pulsed with ever-increasing power, pushing human consciousness to new heights. But the Zorax were not easily defeated. Their massive fleet began to adapt, their biological ships evolving in real time to counter the human psychic assault. New organs grew on their hulls, generating fields that disrupted human thought patterns. Their collective consciousness fragmented into smaller, less predictable units. Their learning, Sarah observed, watching as a Zorax dreadnought sprouted crystalline structures that mimicked the human orbital platforms. Good. I was worried this would be too easy. Admiral, Dr. Wong's voice carried urgency. The genetic memories. There's more. The orbital network, the psychic awakening. It's just the first stage. Our ancestors left us something else. Something bigger. Explain. The platforms aren't just amplifying our abilities. They're preparing us for integration. With each other, with our ships, with... Wong hesitated. With Earth itself. The entire planet is a weapon, Admiral. And we're the firing mechanism. Sarah felt the truth of Wang's words resonating through her enhanced consciousness. The orbital platforms weren't just defensive tools. They were keys to unlocking Earth's hidden potential. And as she looked down at humanity's homeworld, she began to see it with new eyes. Beneath the surface, ancient machines stirred to life, waiting for humanity to take the next step in their evolution. The Zorax fleet pressed their attack, their ships now moving with greater unpredictability. But they had made a crucial mistake. They had assumed that humanity's awakening was complete, that they had seen the full extent of what their prey could do. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Counterstrike. Earth pulsed with ancient power, its very core resonating with the combined consciousness of billions of awakened human minds. Admiral Sarah Chen felt it all. Every mind, every thought, every possibility flowing through the collective consciousness that humanity had become. But unlike the Zorax hive mind, each human remained distinctly individual, their unique perspectives combining to create something greater than the sum of its parts. Final integration complete, Dr. Wang reported, her consciousness merging seamlessly with the planet-wide network. Earth's defensive systems are fully operational, and Admiral, they're beyond anything we could have imagined. Sarah nodded, feeling the truth of Wang's words in every fiber of her being. The planet beneath them wasn't just their home. It was an ancient fortress, a weapon of unimaginable power, waiting for humanity to reclaim their inheritance. And now, finally, they were ready. All ships, prepare for synchronized assault, Sarah commanded. Dr. Wang, begin planetary activation sequence. Let's show the Zorax what happens when they push humanity too far. The Zorax fleet had regrouped, their biological ships sprouting new defensive organs, their tactics becoming more erratic and unpredictable. But it wouldn't be enough. Not against what was coming. Deep beneath Earth's surface, massive generators that had lain dormant for 50,000 years roared to life. The planet's magnetic field began to pulse with controlled energy, each wave amplifying the psychic power of every human mind connected to the network. The orbital platforms gleamed with intense blue light, their crystalline structures channeling power on a scale that defied conventional physics. Multiple Zorax dreadnoughts advancing. Marcus reported, his enhanced consciousness tracking thousands of enemy movements simultaneously. They're launching some kind of psychic dampening field, trying to disrupt our connection to the network. Sarah smiled grimly. Let them try. All ships, execute attack pattern Prometheus. Earth's defense fleet moved as one, but not in the rigid, predictable patterns of the Zorax collective. Each ship, each crew member acted with perfect individual initiative, while remaining part of the greater whole. It was organized chaos, a battle strategy that existed in 4 dimensions, impossible to predict or counter. The Zorax fired their planet-killer weapons, massive biological projectiles designed to burrow into a world's core and devour it from within. But they never reached their target. Earth's magnetic field twisted in impossible ways, guided by billions of human minds. The projectiles were caught in a web of gravitational forces and turned back on their creators. They're attempting to adapt, Marcus observed, watching as the Zorax ships began rapid evolutionary changes, growing new neural clusters, trying to match our cognitive capabilities. Too little, too late, Sarah replied. Dr. Wang, initiate stage 2. The surface of Earth began to shimmer as billions of microscopic machines, hidden in the planet's crust for millennia, activated at once. They rose into the atmosphere in a silver cloud, each one connected to the human collective consciousness. As they reached orbit, they began to combine, forming structures that defied conventional engineering. By all that's holy, Marcus whispered, watching as the machines assembled themselves into massive geometric shapes. Are those weaponized consciousness? Wang confirmed. Our ancestors didn't just leave us defensive technology. They left us the means to take the fight to any species that threatened our existence. The silver constructs pulsed with combined human thought, each one a physical manifestation of humanity's will to survive. They moved through space like living things, passing through Zorax shields as if they didn't exist, their very presence disrupting the biological components of the enemy ships. The Zorax fleet reeled under the assault, their collective consciousness fragmenting further as they tried to comprehend and counter this new threat. Their ships began to evolve more rapidly, desperate mutations sprouting from their hulls, but each adaptation was met and countered by the infinite flexibility of human imagination. "They're trying to retreat," Marcus reported, tracking the enemy's desperate attempts to open fold space ruptures. "Their flagship is attempting to coordinate a withdrawal." "Not this time," Sarah said, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's resolve. "Dr. Wong, prepare the primary weapon. It's time to show them exactly what they've awakened." The ancient machines continued their work, drawing power from Earth's core, channeling the combined psychic energy of billions of human minds. The orbital platforms aligned, forming a complex geometric pattern that somehow existed in more dimensions than the human eye could perceive. And in the command center of the Zorax flagship, the alien hive mind experienced something new, true fear. They had come expecting to find primitive beings barely worthy of assimilation. Instead, they had awakened giants, released powers that had been deliberately sealed away by beings far more advanced than themselves. The counterattack was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The hidden truth. As Earth's defense fleet pressed their advantage against the reeling Zorax armada, Admiral Sarah Chen felt something unexpected brush against her enhanced consciousness, an alien presence, vast and complex, trying to communicate. It wasn't the simplistic hive mind of the Zorax. This was something else entirely. "Admiral," Dr. Wong's voice carried a note of urgency. "I'm detecting unusual activity in the orbital network. Something's accessing our ancestral memory banks, something that knows the access codes." Sarah stretched her consciousness toward the alien presence, her awakened mind interpreting patterns that would have been incomprehensible just hours ago. The message that emerged was clear. The Zorax hadn't found Earth by accident. They had been led here. "Multiple enemy ships attempting emergency fold space jumps," Marcus reported. "But something's wrong. Their biological systems are deteriorating." Through the enhanced sensor network, Sarah watched as the mighty Zorax vessels began to break down at the molecular level. Their living hulls writhed in apparent agony, neural clusters misfiring as their very genetic code seemed to unravel. This wasn't supposed to happen. The alien presence communicated directly into Sarah's mind. "The Zorax were meant to pressure your species into awakening, not to destroy you. We miscalculated their aggression, their hunger. We had to intervene." "Who are you?" Sarah projected the thought outward, feeling Dr. Wong and her bridge crew joining their consciousness with hers, strengthening the connection. "We are the architects," the presence replied. "Your ancestors, the ones who sealed away humanity's true potential until you were ready to reclaim it." Images flooded through the collective consciousness of Earth's defenders, visions of an ancient human civilization that had reached heights of technological and psychological development far beyond anything in their historical records. A civilization that had discovered something profound about the nature of consciousness itself. 50,000 years ago, your ancestors faced a choice, the architect continued. They had unlocked the true potential of the human mind, learned to manipulate reality through pure thought. But they also saw the dangers. Your species was young, still prone to aggression and fear. To use such power without proper wisdom would have been catastrophic. So they locked it away. Dr. Wong interjected, her scientific mind racing with the implications. Encoded it into our DNA, created the orbital network as a key, and waited for the right moment to awaken it. Sarah finished. But why now? Why use the Zorax as a trigger? The answer came not in words, but in images, glimpses of a galaxy in turmoil, of ancient threats stirring from long dormancy, of darkness spreading between the stars. The architects had known that humanity would be needed, that their unique combination of individual creativity and collective action would be essential for what was to come. The Zorax were supposed to be a controlled threat, the architect explained. A species we had guided, engineered to provide the necessary catalyst for your awakening. But they evolved beyond our predictions, developed an appetite for conquest that exceeded their original programming. Through their enhanced senses, Sarah and her crew watched as more Zorax ships succumbed to the mysterious degradation. The mighty invasion fleet was literally coming apart at the seams, their biological components breaking down as if rejecting their own existence. You're destroying them, Sarah realized. Activating some kind of genetic failsafe. A regrettable necessity, the architect confirmed. The Zorax were never meant to be a true species, merely a tool to aid in humanity's rebirth. Their aggression made them too dangerous to continue existing. The revelation sent shockwaves through the human collective consciousness. They had been fighting for survival, but the entire conflict had been orchestrated. A test, a trigger, a means to an end. Why tell us this now? Sarah demanded, feeling the mixture of anger and awe rippling through her connected crew. Because the real test is about to begin, the architect replied. The Zorax were merely the beginning. There are threats in this galaxy far older and more dangerous than you can imagine. Threats that your ancestors sealed away, just as they sealed away your own potential. And now you must decide how to use your reawakened power. As if to emphasize the point, the remaining Zorax ships began to dissolve completely, their component molecules dispersing into space. Earth's defenders watched in silence, grappling with the implications of what they had learned. They had not just rediscovered their heritage. They had been deliberately awakened to face something even more dangerous than the Zorax. What threats? Sarah asked, though part of her already knew the answer. The ancestral memories were beginning to surface, carrying warnings that made the Zorax seem insignificant by comparison. The architect's response came with a sense of grim finality. The ones that are about to notice that humanity has reclaimed its birthright. The ones that your ancestors fought 50,000 years ago. The ones that have been waiting, watching, preparing for this moment. The truth was clear. The real battle hadn't even begun. Humanity ascended. The void left by the dissolving Zorax fleet felt heavy with possibility. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the DSS Vigilant, her enhanced consciousness extended through Earth's defense network, feeling the pulse of billions of awakened human minds. The truth of their heritage, and the weight of their responsibility, resonated through the collective consciousness they shared. Multiple anomalies detected at the edge of the solar system. Marcus reported, his enhanced senses probing the darkness between the stars. Something's coming through. Something big. The architect's presence brushed against their minds once more. They have sensed your awakening. The devourers of light, the entropy weavers, the void shapers, all the ancient enemies your ancestors sealed away. They come to test humanity's worth, to see if you truly deserve your reclaimed power. Through the enhanced sensor network, Sarah watched as space itself began to twist and fold. Massive shapes emerged from dimensional rifts that shouldn't have been possible, entities that defied conventional physics, their very presence warping reality around them. These are the threats you prepared us for, Sarah stated, feeling her crew's mix of fear and determination. This was the real reason for our awakening. Yes, the architect confirmed. The Zorax were merely a catalyst, a way to awaken your potential gradually. But now you must face these threats fully awakened, or all will be lost. The entities approaching Earth defied description. They were living mathematics, geometry made manifest, thoughts given form and substance. Each one radiated power that made the entire Zorax fleet seem insignificant by comparison. Dr. Wong, Sarah called, her mind already formulating strategies. Status of Earth's defense systems. The ancient machines are fully operational, Wong replied. Her consciousness merged with the planetary network. The orbital platforms are channeling more power than we thought possible. But Admiral, there's something else. The genetic memories are showing me something. Earth itself isn't just a fortress. It's a key. The approaching entities began to take up attack positions, their impossible forms casting shadows that shouldn't have existed. But Sarah felt no fear. Instead, she felt something she hadn't experienced since the invasion began. Hope. All ships, battle formations, she commanded. But not like before. Not like anything before. Show them what humanity has become. Earth's defense fleet moved with impossible grace, each ship guided by the combined creativity of its crew, their enhanced minds working in perfect harmony while maintaining their individual perspectives. The orbital platforms pulsed with power, but now they weren't just amplifying human consciousness. They were reshaping space itself. "They're attacking," Marcus announced, but his voice carried excitement rather than dread. "Multiple dimensional incursions. They're trying to unmake our reality." The first wave of the assault was unlike anything they could have imagined. The ancient entities didn't attack with weapons or energy. They attacked with concepts, with mathematical impossibilities that should have unraveled the fabric of space-time. But humanity was ready. Billions of awakened minds responded as one, not fighting against the impossible mathematics, but embracing them, extending them, improving them. Where the ancient entities tried to unmake reality, humanity remade it, their combined creativity, turning each attack into something new and unexpected. "We understand now," Sarah broadcast to her fleet, to every awakened human mind. "Our ancestors didn't just give us weapons or defenses. They gave us the power to reshape reality itself. And we will use it our way." The battle that followed transcended conventional warfare. It was a clash of ideas, of possibilities, of competing visions for the very nature of existence. The ancient entities brought the weight of eons, the certainty of their power. Humanity brought something else. Imagination, innovation, the ability to see beyond what was to what could be. Earth itself began to transform, the ancient machines buried in its core responding to humanity's collective will. The planet didn't just defend against the reality-warping attacks. It absorbed them, learned from them, turned them into something new. "We are not just fighting to survive," Sarah declared, feeling the truth of her words resonate through the collective consciousness. "We are fighting to create, to build, to explore possibilities that even our ancestors never imagined." The ancient entities reeled before this unexpected response. They had come expecting to find children playing with power they didn't understand. Instead, they found equals who understood the power all too well and were using it in ways that had never been tried before. This is what makes humanity different. The architect's presence echoed through their minds. Not just the power to reshape reality, but the creativity to imagine new realities, the courage to forge new paths, the wisdom to use power not just for destruction, but for creation. The battle reached its crescendo as humanity's combined will manifested in ways that transformed the solar system itself. The ancient entities found their very nature being rewritten. Their attacks turned into building blocks for something new and unprecedented. In the end, it wasn't a victory through destruction. It was a victory through transformation. The ancient entities didn't retreat. They were changed, reformed, made part of something greater than themselves. As the last echoes of battle faded, Sarah stood on her bridge, feeling the pulse of awakened humanity growing stronger, more confident. They had faced their ancient enemies and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. "What now?" Marcus asked, his consciousness brushing against hers. Sarah smiled, looking out at the transformed solar system, feeling the infinite possibilities that lay before them. "Now we do what humanity has always done best. We explore, we create, we push the boundaries of what's possible." The architect's presence faded, leaving behind one final message. "The galaxy is yours now. Use your power wisely. Create wonders we never imagined. And remember, this is not the end of humanity's story. It is merely the beginning of a new chapter." Earth's defense fleet began to disperse, but they were no longer just ships and crews. They were humanity ascendant, awakened to their true potential, ready to forge a future limited only by their imagination. The stars beckoned, full of infinite possibilities, and humanity was finally ready to answer their call.